I spent the past 7 days watching and studying pro players to see what the best methods of achieving calm aim are, to figure out why it's so hard to achieve. Each day I learned one method of achieving calm aim, things I wouldn't have known if I hadn't researched hours beforehand. From movement, tension management, tracking, the Bardoz method. The Bardoz method? What the hell is that? But in this video, we'll be covering all of this and more. But all of that starts with one giant realization. Before we can kick off the aiming routines, the tips, the death matches, we need to start here. High hand. The
very first thing you need to master before you even think about having calm aim is holding your mouse properly. It doesn't matter what else you do, because all of your aim starts with your mouse. You need to hold your mouse with the same amount of force you would hold an egg with. This ensures that you don't grip your mouse too tightly. If you're death gripping your mouse every time you try to aim, all of that tension alone will mess up your aim and you won't be able to hit the shots that you're trying to hit.
At first I thought, lessening the grip of my mouse would help me get smoother aim. Useful tip, but not groundbreaking. But in my pursuit of digging, I found even more information.
Calm aim is a combination of two main things. There's calm aim, which is the aiming itself, and then there's calm movement. So calm aim is more of a calm aim style of gameplay than it is just an aiming style.
Only 50% of calm aim is actually through aiming? No wonder people struggle trying to learn this. But the rabbit hole just kept going.
Tracking is a fundamental of aiming, because without the ability to smoothly track, then none of your mouse movements will ever be smooth.
You need to have a very clean combination of both aim and movement.
And that's why most people, when they first train their tracking, their aim evolves
one enemy remaining
while at leaps and bounds.
Oh my. So to get calm aim, you need three things. You need 1, tension management, 2, Bardoz method, and 3, tracking practice. So let's start with tension. What is tension?
Tension management is how hard you grip your mouse when you aim. You can either hold the mouse tightly or lightly. Tighter grip means faster movements, and lighter grips means more precision. Good aimers have a skillful grasp of the concept and are able to use both styles pretty well. But it takes an exceptional aimer to be able to seamlessly weave the two styles as if they were one. And before you say, yeah, that's cool, but it can't be that important, no. Literally all of your favorite pro players use tension management. It is quite literally the backbone of not just aiming, but just general mechanics. Not just in Valorant, but in all of FPS competition. So lock in. It's training time. The ability to tense and smooth may sound intimidating, but after doing more digging and watching pro players and whatnot, I found the ultimate skill to make tension management as easy as pie. Apple pie. And that skill is this. Do you see it? Let me do it again. Yes, the key is acceleration. The thing I noticed with pros like Alexander, Tens, me, is how seamless they're able to switch from tense to smooth, and the way they're able to do it is through acceleration, the missing pin cushion of utilizing tension management. And at first I thought, how do you even train this? But then I remembered you actually can, by a nifty trick called acceleration reading. I didn't exactly know the science behind it, but I did know how to train it, and that's through control sphere and 6-shot, where it gives you chances to equally tense and smooth out your motions through acceleration. Was it tricky at first? Yeah, it was. It still felt like I was missing something in my aim, but I decided to add one mystery thing that went on to elevate my performance, and let's see if you're able to guess what it is. So starters, after my training, my aim became so much more stable. Like so much more stable. My flicks weren't too fast or too slow, but a smooth, constant. And the same words were echoing through my head. Calm, efficient, minimal movement. Was I able to maintain it all the time? No. But the hidden element that allowed me to better train for calm aim was that I raised my sensitivity. From 0.323 to 0.52, I raised my sensitivity by about 60%. which allowed me to use tension in my arm sparingly instead of all of the time. And this gave birth to a perpetual feedback loop where the high sense improved my aiming muscle groups, which caused me to rely less on tension management, making the times I do use tension management at a higher level, which, with my higher sense, causes me to improve my aiming muscles. Bro, look how agile I am. I used to be the biggest whiffer, but now it's literally cake. Chocolate cake. Even my flicks off guard were relatively calm. I'm doing all sorts of maneuvers, some maneuvers for no reason at all, and I still have the ability to flick calmly. So tension management, 5 stars. You should def focus on this when trying to get calm aim. I woke up ecstatic, ready to take on the day, because is today a buy one get one free retail deal at the Best Buy CD section? Because we're going to cover 2 things today. Tracking, the backbone of smooth aiming, and movement, 50% of all of calm aiming. And I'm sure you're wondering 2 things. Wow, it sure is going to be a busy day. I should subscribe for his efforts. And 2, how in the heck am I supposed to start training 2 very important things all in one day? Well, meet Bobbert.
Hi, Bobbert.
Bobbert is going to show us how to use 100% of the calm aiming technique. Yeah, it's important to move calmly, but what exactly are you supposed to do? And you know what? I'm gonna give you guys a few moments to figure it out for yourselves. You see this? This right here? This is called mirroring, where you mimic the strafing patterns of your opponents to give yourself more time to take them down. But when I tried this method, I had nothing but just 2 questions. 1, why does it work? And 2, why isn't it working? I got shot down very easily, like very easily, which I wasn't sure on why until I really thought about it. When you move in the same direction as the target, the speed that you're perceived at is a lot slower, meaning I was making the target move as slowly as I could make it. Which is good until you realize that I equally gave the opponent as much time as I gave myself. And it was in this particular train of thought that I realized about the other aiming technique, anti-mirroring, where you move in the opposite direction of your enemy with the intent to actually throw off their crosshair coordination. And this unlocks something deep within me. You wouldn't have even known that I was just coming back from being 13-16 bottom frag. I was able to find my stride again after hours of suffering trying to figure out mirror movement and the Bardoz method. But now we found the other 50% of the calm aim pie. It's time to go back to the big 3 of smoothness and train our tracking. Movement, 3.7 stars.
It's gonna be my celebrity phone call. Tom Holland, man, what the fuck? Man, I don't wanna talk your bitch.
Tracking is the most overlooked aiming aspect in Valorant. Valorant players for some reason just do not practice tracking. They completely overlook it, they go full min-max flicking, and they just ignore tracking altogether. Issue with this is, tracking is really fundamental to having good aim, and calm aim is all about having good aim. If you have good tracking, you have good target reading, your aim is more likely to be smooth, your target switching is going to be much better. So to get calm aim, you have to practice tracking as well.
Unlike everything that's been covered in this video, I don't need to convince you the value of tracking. It speaks for itself. It's a non-negotiable, needed to not just get calm aim, but good consistent aim in general. So that being said, the simplest answer is usually the best answer. I could just train my tracking and use it in game, but I learned yet another method players use to have more efficient tracking. Look at this. Now look at this. This again, and now this. Now tell me which is better. When you see an opponent, do you look at your crosshair or the enemy when you aim? If you said either choice, you'd be wrong. Because, my dear viewers, you're supposed to be doing both. While you're aiming, if the target is far away, you focus on the crosshair, and when the target is close, you focus on the target itself. Yeah, it's good practice in general, aiming and in gunplay, but since tracking inherently requires more concentration, it actually makes things such a game changer. Boom. Real, tangible improvement. Or, I guess not. In that instance, I was on the brink of evolving my aiming style, but I hesitated, damn it all. If I really want to be the best, I need to utilize all of my resources at its maximum. If I can properly add the Bardoz method into my gameplay, Forget getting one insane clip. I could find an equation where making plays and getting clips becomes as seamless as breathing. And then, and only then, will we have the power to make the impossible possible. Tracking, 5 stars.
You don't need to be born talented to have good aim. You can be a talented aimer, but you don't have to be talented to have good aim. In reality, aim is a science that you can learn brick by learning each fundamental and building your aim up until you become a very, very proficient top tier aimer.
The Bardoz Method, an alleged game changer of obtaining the calm aim technique. With every Daisy commenting, the Bardoz Method is a game changer. Never even heard of something like that before. I was wondering why I can't hit my flicks. I feel like this is the way a lot of pros aim. These are very bold claims, but what actually is the Bardoz Method? The Bardoz Method is when you break down one motion of flicking into 2 steps. One big movement and closing the gap with one smaller movement. Inexperienced players don't know this exists, intermediate players use it occasionally, and the best players use it in a way where you barely even notice it. Hitting one accurate flick is really hard to do, even for the best players, but simplifying it into using one flick for the general area and then one micro flick to finish it off, you can be a lot more consistent. Now that we know its value, how do we train it? Big flick, small flick, big flick, small flick, you get the idea. And so, that's what I did. But that's when I realized getting calm aim was going to be a lot harder than I thought.
At first, it's going to feel extremely uncomfortable. It's going to feel so alien to you.
Oh, a little uncomfortable? I can do a little uncomfortable. What's a little uncomfortable? God dang! The second I tried using the Bardoz Method in game, it was like I was getting my mouse for the very first time. I usually use the Bardoz Method only in high stress situations, but for every kill, every single gunfight, I don't even think it was meant to be the case, but trying to use this method in general made me so aware of my aim that I just started playing so much more worse, and I almost gave up on the Bardoz Method. I was gonna rate it 2.5 stars and just call it a day. But as I read the comments again and heard all of these stories of people talking about how the Bardoz Method changed their lives, it made me want to sit down and really try to figure this out. And so, I gave it another attempt. What was I looking for? I couldn't tell you. What was my goal? I couldn't tell you that either. Just repetition, repetition, repetition. All until something happened. And it made me change my mentality in a way that I wasn't expecting. So, I don't know if you guys noticed, but a whole day has passed. It was so hard integrating the Bardoz Method that I committed a whole day to just training my flicks. Cause like I said, my sense was mad high now, and for a moment, I was like, maybe I should just change my sense. Just for this session. Just for this day. No one would know. I was struggling, man. I really was. I haven't felt like this since I was a beginner, actually. Do new players feel this, but just all of the time? I'm not a beginner. I have skills to lean on to make this easier for me. But new players don't have that. All they have is their mentality and willingness to learn. They use videos like this to try moving forward. Knowing all of that, how could I quit? How could I ever give up? In fact, I should be thankful for letting me be your teacher. Holy cow, we did it. I broke my score not once, but 2 different times in the same session. It's finally time to take this to Valorant, and it starts here on this random engagement on Lotus. At the point of where my Raze died isn't just a kill, but is literally the heart of the enemy team's push during this retake. Any angle I play here is a predictable one, so I decided the best way to deal with the future duels ahead of me is to throw off their crosshair coordination by moving on reflex. Our first combatant has entered the fray, and we're moving in the same direction. I immediately recognized this as a bad thing, because if you look closely, he has a Spectre, which is perfect for him and bad for me, but I still have one move to even the odds.
Move to the right using the D key. Once you reach the target, let go of D and hold down A to switch direction. As you switch the direction, you have around 80 milliseconds to land an accurate shot. This is called the dead zone window.
I use dead zoning not only to restart my recoil, but to change the conditions of the fight where they're the only target moving, but there's still one obstacle standing in my way. I may have stopped to make the duel fair, but it allowed this guy to straight up blow past my crosshair. But it was in this moment I found out what an old lesson really meant.
You don't need crazy fast reaction times if you know what the enemy is doing before they even do it, and the best way to know that is through something called movement reading. The core of it is that you can pick up on cues present in the game to inform both your predictions and reactions. In my opinion, it's almost essential to master when developing good aim, but like I said, is almost never acknowledged consciously.
And it was in that philosophy that made me realize that this duel was still winnable, and that's because even though I can't hit the apparent target, I still had time to aim where the target is heading. But I'm running out of time here. I couldn't afford to miss this shot. So what do? The Bardoz Method. Ensuring flick accuracy by doing one big flick and one small flick. But I'll be honest, I actually had to break the rules a little bit. The margin of error didn't feel like it would allow a bigger flick. So I decided to reverse the process. One smaller flick into a bigger flick. But I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but I actually flicked away from the target. I needed my mouse to move faster than the enemy character model, because this is a race on who'll get to the imaginary point first. But thanks to the space the smaller point made, it left enough room to use tension management.
Yo, KO, how the hell?
One enemy remaining.
Bardoz Method. 5 stars. Oh man, that was intense. It's insane how much information you can see just by looking at the target. Granted, it was hard, but actually a lot easier than you'd expect. Not just because I've been training for the last 7 days, but also because of the sponsor of this video. This is the XL2546X Plus, a 280Hz powerhouse that literally all your favorite pro players use. Brought to you by Zowie. I've never been the kind of guy to have a lot of monitors. So I always had this aching question growing up. How much of a difference does hardware actually make when you're trying to perform in Valorant? The gap from going to 65Hz to 165 is a huge jump, but from 165 to 280Hz is also a reasonably high margin as well. Definitely something worth investing in if you're trying to get better. Cause not only is the refresh rate good, but the thing that makes Zowie so special is its Diac 2 technology, meant to reduce motion blur. Truly innovative indeed. From unboxing to setting up, it all felt incredibly premium. And with Christmas season right around the corner, it's unironically one of the best times to make this kind of purchase. So if you're interested, go ahead and click the link at the top of the description.